Welcome back. We're writing Little Man Computer in C++, and last time we got to the point where we could cope with having multiple sequential inbox values being picked up by the little man, and I suspect we now need to make sure that we can do the same for outbox values as well, but there's a couple of little items I just want to clean up before we do that. Let's just check we're not in the middle of something. No. So I believe we'd somewhere in the middle of this temporarily put in a real input stream here, which I don't believe we've actually ever used anywhere. So we can just get rid of that. Yeah. So let's throw that away because that's unnecessary. That was just something we picked up on the way to getting a solution that worked for multiple inbox values. The other thing I would like to have a quick look at is our fake input stream. We've kind of botched a sort of queue concept here, and I wanted to try and see if we could use a real queue instead, just to simplify the code slightly. Now I don't know if this is actually the right way to do it, but I thought it was worth having a quick go just to see if this actually works. And then we should be able to do .pop, I would imagine, something to that effect. We'll double check the API if necessary in a moment. Let's assume that's what we're going for, and then somewhere here is the test, and hopefully you can initialize a queue like that, and we'll give that a go and see if there are any issues that we need to look at. So what's the initial error? Okay, so pop doesn't do what we think, and you can't initialize a queue like that. So let's actually have a look at the documentation then. See if this lets us know what we're after. So pop just removes the element. And front accesses the next element. And pushes it out. So do we need to do is this going to actually end up being more complicated than the manual approach? Let's have a quick look and see what this should look like then. So we want was it next? Front. Like so. So that becomes that. And then our initialization, I guess we're going to have to do input values dot push 1, input values push 2. Is this at least correct? And do we prefer it? I think from yeah, that passes fine. I think from imparting information to the reader, using a queue is slightly clearer. So I think that even though it's a little bit more verbose, that I'm happy with that as a mechanism. Yeah, let's stick with that. We could always change our mind again later. So move unused code and change fake to user input to user queue. Good. So that's fine for now. So we kind of want to move on, and I guess the obvious next movement is to handle multiple outbox values in a similar vein as the inbox. So program returning two different outbox values. I guess we can just say program returns two different outbox values. Not quite clear, but I think that'll do for now, just to get us going. So then we want to do so we're going to need to do something a little bit hacky again, like we did with the load program test, but that's fine for now to get us to a position where we have where we have a working program. So let's output 3 and 4. It doesn't really matter what those 3 and 4 are, but that's fine. So computer 3 is equal to our output how do we want to do this? Output values dot output stream dot values 0, and we'll make up the API we would like to have, and then make it work from there. So we kind of want that. I think we're probably going to have to use a vector to do that, because I don't think that that you can index a queue like that, but that's fine. We'll work with that. It'll get us to somewhere. So that's a pass, and test result dot add pass, and then otherwise that's failure. I can't remember what we're writing. We're writing fail. That's good. And then add failure. So that won't compile because we're missing an output stream, but that's good. That's all we wanted. So now we need to create an output stream, and I think we can immediately make the assumption that we're going to have a similar structure inside our production code as before. So we'll have fake output stream like so. So that will then shout about our lack of all sorts of things. So we're missing a fake output stream and values property, which is fine. So fake input stream is there, so we'll create a fake output stream, like so. We won't do anything with it as yet because we haven't decided quite what we need to. So we're now missing the values property, which is fine. So let's go back to here. And we need a public, I'm sure a vector is fine here, called values. We'll work with that. What does that give us? Hello, what's the issue now? It's because we've created that as a shared something or other. So these need to be instead little arrows. We can do that. Does that improve things? What is our issue here? No template. Make shared. Spelling errors. Always believe the compiler. That's sounding a little bit more promising. Good. The test, I would imagine, will fail. In fact, it'll fail with a seg fault because we're looking at areas of memory that we haven't initialized, which is fine for the moment. So we've created our fake output stream like so. We then need a little program similar to the one we wrote before that'll put 3 and 4 into the outbox. So here's our program. Let's just write it in pseudocode here. So we need to, so we want to load the accumulator with something, followed by outputting that, followed by loading the accumulator with something else, followed by outputting that, followed by halting, and some DATs, DAT3 and DAT4. So that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Memory 5 and 6 we're loading from. Like so. That looks completely plausible, doesn't it? And let's just double check our instruction set. So load is a 5. Good. So that's 505, 505, 902, 506, 902, 0, 3 and 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 are the DATs. That looks completely plausible. Good. So we've created that. We then need a computer and a little man to put them in. Now, is this going to be awkward? Because we want to put in an output stream here. So do we have to do something like this? Slightly making this up a bit to see what we need to do. And then we'd load the program. We'll see what the compiler errors are in a second, and run the program. So we've got a program, we create a computer and an output stream. We create a little man, we load the program, we run the man, and then we check the answer. That sounds fine, but we're going to get shouted at for missing constructor here. So let us go to our header file and create yet another constructor, like so. With a shared pointer of outputstream, and that will shout at us for not having a type outputstream, which is exactly what we wanted. So we'll create an outputstream type, like so, and we will see where the compiler directs us next. And we now have the wrong type on the third argument. That's good. So we can then say public MC outputstream. That might get us a little nearer. And we're probably going to have some sort of linking error because we haven't created that constructor yet. That's good. So then we can go to our set of constructors and we can just basically copy that one and augment it with the extra parameter. A shared pointer type outputstream, which we'll call outputstream, and then I imagine we'll get shouted at for not initializing it. Unused parameter, that's fine. So we need to use that by creating a shared pointer here. And then we still have the unused parameter, which we can do like this. We are going slightly longer than I'd usually like between passing tests, but that's, I think, okay in this particular instance. We expect to be moving a little bit more slowly in a learning environment. So that, I would imagine, won't pass. That's good, but we have got it to compile. So what we need to do to make that pass is to actually have a mechanism for in here for adding things to the outbox. Void add output. Possibly not the best name, but we'll work with it for now. And does that need an implementation, or would it be fine for now? I'm going to assume oh dear. I'm going to assume that that giant error message was due to us not having implemented our add output function. I have a suspicion that we didn't quite enter that correctly. Yep, that should of course have been like so. That's const, of course, because we're not meddling with it. So that will then be values dot pushback output, I think. That's good. Let's have a bit of room. And then we will need to use that in the production code to pass through the value of the output. Good. So if we go to production code here, and in here, similar to the way that we dealt with the input stream, we'll say if the output stream is not null, which it may well be in a bunch of the tests, we say output stream add output computer.outbox, and to see if that gets us to where we want to be. Ooh, naughty. That, of course, should be public. Well, that seems like it should get the job done, and indeed it does. So that's test. I'm not overly happy with the name of the test here. Program returns two different outbox values, which are passed through to the output stream. I think that's a slightly better name. Still not brilliant, but it'll do for now. Good. Can't imagine that broke anything. Lovely. So, create a little program that outputs two different values from memory. Create a fake output stream for us to capture what's going on. Run the program and then check the output stream. Again, I'm not a big fan of this rather expansive mechanism for checking, but I think that's okay as it's a one-off in this instance. We'll continue offline to see if there's a nice way of comparing two lists, two list-like things that may or may not be the same type. But I think that's okay for now. Let's have a quick look at the rest of the code. So that looks okay. Not a big fan of having these three constructors that are incredibly similar. Might be worth trimming that down to one constructor and passing null pointers in, at least initially. I wonder if you can have default arguments to do that. Wouldn't work in this last case, would it, where we want to have oh, maybe it would. What would happen if I were to say, because I've actually put in those the default value in the last case. So if I were to say this, what happens? And then get rid of these two. And then lose these two versions of the constructor. Does that allow me to do what I want to do in less code? It looks like it does. How nice is that? Good. That's definitely an improvement. Wonderful. Let's commit that. Yep. So we've handled an output stream. Add output stream for allowing multiple outbox values. Excellent, and I think that'll do us for now.